Check out this insane entryway transformation. We saved over $1,000 by doing this ourselves, and you can too.
As you can see, this entryway is a disaster, but we're gonna transform this narrow space with a floating console shelf, saving over $1,000 in the process.
First impressions matter, but this narrow entryway, it's cluttered, boring, and totally unusable. Today, we're fixing that forever.
We're using this 2x10 pine and early American stain. The best part is the budget. The total cost is just $150. Custom joinery for an entryway like this costs over $1,200. We are achieving the exact same organic modern look for a fraction of the price. This hallway was a total disaster zone of tripping hazards and scuffed walls. But guess what? I'm building a high-end custom floating. Let's break down the materials. We have the pine board for $30, the brackets for $25, the stain for $15, and the sandpaper for $5. Well under our budget. 36 inches right here. That's the sweet spot for an entryway console, making the most of this narrow space. And just like that, we found the center of the stud. Now we can mount this console right where we need it and stay under budget. Here is the most critical rule for floating shelves. You M-use-T hit the studs. Drywall anchors alone will not hold this weight. We're drilling the pilot holes now. This project only cost us $150, saving us a massive $1,050 compared to professional joinery. Once you've got your marks, grab the impact driver and secure those heavy-duty brackets. Make sure they're tight. You really want to feel that torque. Check that out, perfectly centered right between the lines. We just saved ourselves $1,000 on this entryway transformation. All right, everyone, for this floating console shelf, we need to cut the 2x10 exactly 48 inches. Make sure your speed square is flush. Now for the main shelf piece, we're making the cut precisely at 48 inches. Keep that saw steady. This edge is incredibly sharp right now, so we're gonna take our sanding block and just break that edge slightly before we apply the stain. We're using the sanding block vigorously to round these sharp corners. This softens the edges, giving it that aged furniture look we want for the entryway. See that round edge? That is the secret. Sharp edges scream lumberyard. Rounded edges say custom furniture. We start with the 80 grit, then move up to 120, 180, and finally the 220 for a smooth finish. This whole setup only cost us time to attach the 80 grit disc. We're tackling this pine board, removing that factory mill glaze. It's the secret to getting a perfect finish on our console shelf. Most people rush this part, but sanding is actually 80% of the finished look. We start with 80 grit to level the surface, then step up gradually. Here is a massive mistake I used to make. Do not jump from 80 straight to 220 grit. You will leave deep scratches that the stain will highlight. See the difference the 120 grit makes? This is why DIY pays off. We are saving over $1,000 here. The key is wiping the board down thoroughly with a tack cloth between each grit. Look at how much dust this sticky yellow cloth picked up. See how smooth that's getting. The 180 grit is working its magic, helping us save that $1,050 compared to custom work. The key to a professional finish is running your palm across the grain, feeling for any imperfections. This is the 220 grit final pass. You want to move quickly and lightly to achieve this glass smooth surface. Now it's ready for that early American stain. Look at that finish. Absolutely no swirl marks, which means we are ready for the final coat. This entryway is almost unrecognizable. All right, final clean. We use the brush attachment to get everything out of the pores, then a quick wipe down with the tack cloth. Looks great, right? Here is the biggest rookie mistake, sanding against the grain. See these tiny scratches? The stain will turn those into ugly. All right, everyone, before we apply that early American stain, we need to make sure this workspace is spotless. No dust allowed. If you stain pine directly, it looks blotchy and cheap. It absorbs stain like a sponge in some spots and resists it in others. All right, guys, the key here is the pre-stain conditioner. You wanna make sure you get full saturation before the early American goes on. We've got our early American conditioner on. Now we wait. As you can see by the time lapse, that took about 15 minutes. Let's get staining. The wood is now sealed and ready for color. So excited to finally get into this Minwax early American stain. Just apply a little pressure with the screwdriver and listen to that pop. Never shake a can of stain. It creates bubbles that ruin your finish. Stir gently to mix the pigments that settle at the bottom. All right, color check on the underside. Yeah, that early American stain is perfect for this console shelf.
And applying the first stroke now. Wow, look at how that grain comes alive. This is early American. It's a classic warm mid-tone that avoids the orange tint of the 90s. It immediately gives cheap pine that.
The key is applying the stain evenly. See that beautiful contrast? This whole project only cost us 150 bucks.
Just like sanding, wipe with the grain. If you swirl it around, you push pigment into the pores unevenly. Long, straight strokes. It's almost therapeutic.
You want to gently wipe away the excess stain, moving with the grain. This really highlights the texture and gives you that perfect finish.
Do not let the stain dry on the wood. Stain penetrates, it doesn't sit on top like paint. If you leave it for more than 15 minutes, it gets sticky.
And there it is, the early American stain really pops in this narrow space. Check out the difference with this scrap piece. Total cost, just 150 bucks. To protect this beautiful stain, we're using Minwax polycrylic. At only $20, it's an essential step for a professional look.
For modern farmhouse designs, never use oil-based polyurethane. It turns yellow over time. We're using water-based poly.
Don't panic. It looks like milk in the can and goes on white, but I promise you it dries 100% clear. Trust the process.
See the difference with a high-quality synthetic brush. Flex the bristles and they snap right back. That ensures a smooth application on the early American stain.
All right, guys, this is the first coat of polycrylic. Make sure you apply it in long, smooth, single direction strokes like this to avoid bubbles. Big mistake alert, don't go back and forth. Brush it on once and leave it alone. If you keep brushing while it dries, you create air bubbles that look terrible. One stroke, walk away.
So for the sanding sealer, grab your 320 grit and sand lightly. See this fine white powder? That's exactly what we want before the top coat.
This white dust is exactly what you want. It means the finish is dry and hard. We are knocking down the raised grain to get that baby smooth professional feel. This is the final coat, so apply it smoothly. The polycrylic glides on effortlessly, giving you this beautiful, durable finish.
Notice we chose matte finish. Glossy furniture looks dated and shows every scratch. Matte finish absorbs light and looks.
We're using the tape to protect the wood, and now we measure precisely where those brackets go for a perfect fit in this narrow space.
So we're using this simple wooden jig to keep the auger bit perfectly straight as we drill deep into the shelf for the floating brackets.
A perfect dry fit.
It slides right onto the bracket smoothly, giving us that solid connection we're looking for.
All right, guys, check this out. By adding these matte black hooks underneath, we're maximizing storage in this narrow entryway, all while keeping the budget tight.
All right, everyone, welcome back. As you can see, this entryway is only 36 inches wide, so getting this 4-foot console in here is gonna be tight.
All right, once those anchors are set, give the brackets a good slap test. Solid as a rock, we are ready for the console. All right, we're sliding the console onto the mounts now. It's a tight fit, but look at this transformation. Ease it on, feel for that connection, and push it flush to the wall.
We're just gonna give it a few taps right here to close that gap. Boom, perfectly flush. That saved us $1,000. Securing the underside here is tricky with the clearance, but that's how we hit that $150 budget instead of $1,200 for custom joinery. You wanna make sure these set screws are really tight against the metal rods. That's what locks the shelf permanently in place. This 48-inch floating console cost only $150 in materials. Now for the real test. Solid. Because we anchored into the studs and used heavy-duty inch steel rods, this shelf can easily support 50 pounds.
Quick vacuum under the shelf and then hit the wall with a magic eraser to get rid of those layout lines. Almost ready for the big reveal.
And just like that, for only 150 bucks, we've completely opened up this narrow entryway. It looks incredible, right?
Now that the console is secure, we'll give the mirror a quick clean. Make sure you get all the sawdust off the glass for a perfect finish.
These seagrass baskets are perfect for hiding the clutter. Just slide them right into place, and look at that, our entryway transformation.
And finally, this cascading pothos really pops against the early American stain. All this for just 150 bucks, saving us over
Every entryway needs a landing strip, a designated spot for keys, mail, and bags. This shelf provides that function without eating up your floor space. And just like that, the lamp provides the perfect warm accent lighting. This entryway only cost us 150 bucks. And there it is, the finished console shelf. We built this entire thing for just 150 bucks, saving over $1,000 in the process. The final coat of polyacrylic really sealed the deal. This floating console looks incredible, and it only cost us about 150 bucks. Sunday afternoon, almost 1:45 p.m., we're getting the pothos adjusted on the new shelf. This whole DIY build only cost us about 150 bucks.
For just 150 bucks, we saved a ton, and these baskets are perfect for hiding away the shoes right by the door.
The 2026 Japandi and modern farmhouse trends are all about natural materials and decluttered spaces. This console hits lumber, $25, brackets, $30, stain and finish, $35, decor, $60, total, $150. Check this out. The custom version is $1,200, but we did it ourselves for only $150. Now we just reverse the steps, undrilling the mounting holes and watching the stain disappear as we remove the shelf and the mirror.
Before we installed this 48-inch floating console, this hallway was a little effort, and this drill.
The stain is on, now check this out. And just like that, we transformed this entryway, saving over $1,000.
By Sunday evening, the transformation was complete. We spent only $150, saving over $1,000, and the new shelf looks amazing.
Welcome back to the entryway. The cozy evening vibe is exactly what we wanted, and this shelf proves you don't need custom prices for a premium look. I honestly can't believe we managed to fit this 48-inch console in here. For only 150 bucks, this transformation is incredible, and you can do it too. This morning, this was just a piece of lumber from the hardware store. Now, it's the first thing guests see when they walk in. It sets the tone for the whole. Real estate agents agree. Organized entryways sell homes. This simple weekend project delivers an estimated 800%. Stop looking at your cluttered hallway and hating it. You can fix it. You don't need a contractor, you don't need expensive tools, just grab some Design is useless if it doesn't work. This console isn't just pretty, it solves the drop zone chaos that plagues 90% of American homes. Maintenance is super simple. Because we use polyacrylic, you don't need expensive wood cleaners. Just a dry microfiber cloth once a week keeps it looking brand new. If you ever do scratch it with keys, don't worry. These stain markers cost $5 and fix scratches in literally 3 seconds. It's totally kid-proof. We can quickly swap the plant and the key bowl for this modern vase and a stack of magazines. See how versatile this shelf is? And just like that, for only 150 bucks, we have a custom floating console. Absolutely nailed the look. Time for the finished shot. I am so stoked with how this turned out. The console is exactly the focal point this narrow hallway needed, and look at all this wasted space we reclaimed. We added 48 inches of surface area and massive storage underneath, all without blocking the walkway. So for just $150, we managed to save over $1,000 on this floating console. The warm light really shows off that early American stain. The key here was maximizing space. This sleek floating design cost us only $150 in materials. I've done a lot of projects in this house, but for $150, this is hands down the best money I have ever spent. The difference is night and day. We managed to transform this entryway for just 150 bucks, saving a fortune over custom work. Final budget check. Exactly $150 total. We saved $1,050 compared to custom joinery. Look at the incredible difference the early American stain makes. This is the raw pine, and this is the finished console. It completely transforms the look. You don't need a massive workshop or years of experience. You just need a free weekend and the courage to start. This project is the perfect first step. You think this was cool? Wait until you see what I'm doing to the master bedroom accent wall next week. It's gonna blow your mind.
The key to a perfect finish is smooth sanding. We're running the sander over this pine to get it ready for that beautiful early American stain. And just like that, the early American stain goes on. Look at that transformation. We saved $1,050 doing it ourselves. Let's get this mounted.
Slide the shelf onto the brackets until you hear that satisfying clunk, then quickly secure it with the impact driver.
And just like that, the entryway is complete. We got the shelf up, the mirror mounted, and the baskets in place. And just like that, for only 150 bucks, we saved over $1,000 compared to custom joinery. If this video saved you $1,000 today, do me a huge favor and smash that subscribe button. We are building a whole house on a budget, and you don't want to miss it.
Hitting that like button tells YouTube to show this project to other DIYers who need to fix their messy hallways. Let's help them out. Question for you guys, would you stain this early American or would you go for a dark walnut? Let me know in the comments below, I read every single one. We want this flush mounted, so the key is getting this measurement exactly right. Oh, hang on. Well, you saw it here first. Let's grab that and continue.
From a chaotic hallway to a designer entryway in one weekend. You have the plans, you have the budget, now it's time to get to work.
With the console securely mounted, we can finally call it a night. Just flip the switch here and we're all set. And there you have it, the finished floating console. For just $150 in materials, we saved over $1,000 compared to custom work. If you're watching this video right now thinking, I could never build that, stop doubting yourself. This was just a pine board and some brackets.
Next, we apply the polyacrylic for durability. Then we slide the shelf onto the brackets for the perfect entryway transformation.
Subscribe right now for more high-end DIY transformations that don't break the bank. Next week's video, a complete master bedroom accent wall makeover for under $200.